What's up, guys? Welcome to the Outer Nexus. Tonight, we will be going over the implications of political assassination in the modern era. Now, this is not normally a subject that we would cover on this podcast. We don't like to get directly political, most of the time at least, but this one felt a little different. In my opinion, the death of Charlie Kirk on
That's what it is.
on live TV or YouTube. Was he
YouTube.
He was streaming live on YouTube, and I'm sure you're aware of what already happened. The What I find interesting about this is that I can't recall a parallel to this kind of thing since like the 60s, when they were assassinating political figures for speaking in certain ways.
And that's kind of the thing, is that's for the US at least.
That's the thing. Yeah.
That was kind of the timeline. And then we seem to have stopped.
Yeah.
And for the most part, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Or if it did, it was quieter.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't such a prominent figure most of the time.
Right.
But now,
like the only two and I'm not trying to compare Charlie Kirk with RFK or Martin Luther King or anything, but those are like the only two that I could think of off the top of my head that were like sheer political assassinations. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't any other it was very clear that this was for a political end, to generate some political end. And personally, for me, it doesn't matter what Charlie Kirk's stances are. I did not watch him a whole lot. You did.
I watched him more.
Yeah.
And I like Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
But the thing is, and this has always been my stance, is you don't really have to always agree with everything. Because I like Charlie Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
I like Daniel Crowder.
Stephen Crowder, you mean?
Steve Sark, Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
I do like these different, speakers. But I don't agree with, some of the things that they say. I'm actually one of those, people that, I'm not religious. Yeah. So it would be odd almost that I agree with them. But, I do fall conservative on certain things, though I tend to be more progressive. But I like a lot of their points of view for a lot of things. And the thing you don't, and that's the whole thing behind this, is you don't have to agree with everything everybody says.
Yeah.
And
I think that's the core takeaway here is, and I think that's what Charlie Kirk was trying to do, and what he will be remembered for is that he was trying to reach across the aisle. He was in my opinion, he was a milquetoast conservative. He had things that I definitely didn't agree with. But honestly, he just kind of reminded me of, now we weren't in the debate club in high school, but there was debate in high school, and there was these young conservative Christian guys that would like to debate things.
Yeah.
And Charlie Kirk just reminds me of one of those guys.
Yeah.
And it's like what you said, he falls right in line with Ben Shapiro, Stephen Crowder. I think even Ben Shapiro is taking up his tour thing. But either way, I don't actually agree with most of what they have to say. But that's aside the point. You don't have to like them to understand that killing figures for political speech puts us into very, very dangerous territory. And I think Schenk's reaction was really good on this too.
It does put us into very dangerous territory. And, one of the things I would agree with, again, Crowder, this one came from Crowder, said, and I hate to, agree with this particular point, but it is like you're saying, it puts us in a weird spot where, from his point of view, it's, do I go out and share my points of view, which is, part of the American, freedom of speech. It's the basis for, our country, basically. Or how much do I love my family?
Yeah.
And you shouldn't have to balance the two. And that's unfortunately here basically what happened is, he got killed for what he believed in.
Yeah. Yes, I would fundamentally agree with what you said, but the real question, in my opinion, is why did this happen? And you could say this was just a guy that didn't agree with Charlie Kirk, but from a lot of the things that we're seeing, and it very well could be, it just very well could be just a disgruntled young man who um, had a bone to pick with Charlie Kirk. But from the things that I'm seeing, this was a very, very skilled assassination attempt where and the guy almost got away, like he almost got away with it, to the point where even right now they're saying that we think this is the guy. They're not, I don't know if they've 100% confirmed it, but they're saying they're pretty sure that this is the guy, you know.
Right. I didn't see the capturing part yet.
Yeah.
Where that all went.
Oh yeah,
down.
they got him. Yeah, did you see what he looks like?
No. I mean, besides the photos they took when he was escaping itself.
Yeah, no, well, that's the thing. What they're saying is they think that they got him. And you know what's crazy about this? Here, let's listen to Kash Patel's press conference on this. Hold on, let me pull it up. Here we go. This is kind of hilarious. It's not hilarious. It's Kash's reaction that's funny.
Those bullet markings are hard to
Thank you,
decipher.
Governor. This is what happens when you let good cops be cops. The FBI and our partners are proud to stand here today together to bring justice to the family of Charlie Kirk and honor his memory. I want to express my deep gratitude to President Trump, the Vice President, and the entire White House, who have been so incredibly supportive with both resources and just personally to the FBI as a team. They had our backs the entire way, and I just want to express my gratitude for giving us the resources we need to operate in this space to bring this sort of justice at this sort of speed. In 33 hours, we have made historic progress for Charlie. Governor Cox, our partnership has been absolutely incredible these last few days. Our partnership will endure. Your state and local partners, your sheriffs, your DPS community has been unbelievably impressive in the hardest of times. And a case like this cannot be solved, cannot be brought without partnering with your state and local authorities. The FBI has a certain role to play. We will play that role, and we will lead out for the federal government. Governor Cox, we are so grateful for your state partnership that led out on this investigation. A little bit of the timeline. Charlie was shot at 12:23 p.m. on Wednesday. The first FBI agents arrived on scene in 16 minutes with chiefs of police at 12:39 and secured the scene.
This is CYA to try to convince people they did a good job.
So yeah, that was breaking points. That was Crystal talking over that. But basically he goes on to explain that it was his dad that turned him in.
Yes.
After 33 hours. And I just thought, like, the audacity of this dude to come up and be like, you know, this historic investigation and presenting it the way that he did, like the FBI did such a good job here. It's just kind of incredulous, in my opinion, a little bit.
What it looks like to me, from my point of view for Kash Patel,
Yeah,
is like this was his first large rodeo where it's like,
yeah,
he's put in the spotlight as the FBI director to do something in the FBI.
yeah,
Not like just come to a Senate, hearing.
yeah.
And then he's like, yeah, I got full control of everything, and it's a huge team, and
Yeah, it comes across like that, and he's not really focusing on the fact that, something really horrific happened. He's focusing more on how great the operations were, which is like, dude, I don't know if that's the time for this. You know what I mean? Like, you're spending like 5 minutes on this.
Because it's like you did your job. Like, there you go.
And not well. You didn't do your job well. I don't know why you're acting so happy about it. Because here, check this out. And the reason I bring that up is just how weird everyone is acting around this, because it reminds me so much of the Butler shooting, right down to the the guy that they got. But let's see, the footage of this guy. This is him after he shot Charlie, and he runs over to the side of a building and jumps down, and it's like a huge jump. It's like, that's got to be 2 stories.
2.5 stories.
Yeah, something like that. Hang on. There he is, right there. And he does some Assassin's Creed shit where he fucking he gets down and then he props his arm and his leg like that, and then he jumps down like that, and he's fine. He's totally fine. He's gone. Like,
well, he may, and the thing is, certain falls like that,
yeah,
he might have been fine.
Yeah,
but with the amount of adrenaline
it might have been adrenaline. It might have been adrenaline as well. But that looks, I mean, yeah, that's really good. Yeah, that's really good to be able to make that shot and do a parkour, do some Assassin's Creed shit like that and get away and evade the FBI for 33 hours to the point where the FBI is like, maybe we got him now. We're pretty sure it's the guy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Hold on. Let me pull this up. Okay. So here's this Verge article. Let's see here, because this is where it gets really interesting, because everybody, obviously when these kind of events happen, all sides want to play like, whose side was he on? Who can we blame now for this? Yeah. And Steven Crowder like almost immediately came out and said that he got a tip or something that there was trans and anti-fascist ideology found on a rifle in the woods nearby, but now they're saying that they're not even really sure if that was the rifle involved in this. And not only that, it turned out that it's not anti-trans rhetoric, and the FBI subpoenaed Steven Crowder to figure out who his source was, which is kind of wild, right. Yeah. And then immediately after the event happens, you have an older gentleman in like his mid-60s shout, shoot me, just shoot me. Like they got him arrested because I guess in the flurry they thought it might have been that guy. Yeah.
Those were the original things that you were seeing when it was happening. Like right after, like there was an old guy being
and they like had him on the ground. And he was like, shoot me. He said it a couple times, and it really begs the question of what the hell is going on here. What is this weirdness surrounding this yet again? Like another Butler, in my opinion. Yeah. So Charlie Kirk's alleged killer scratched bullets with a Helldivers combo and a furry sex meme. Tyler Robinson, apprehended last night in connection to the fatal shooting of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, allegedly left engraved bullets at the crime scene that were covered in a furry meme, a reference from the video game Helldivers 2, and an extremely online taunt. In an FBI briefing this morning about his arrest, Utah Governor Spencer Cox described the sequence of events that led to the capture of Robinson, 22, who was turned into the police by his father. They also clarified the nature of the notes engraved on the bullet casings found at the scene, which had been rumored to be slogans relating to anti-fascist and transgender ideology. As it turns out, the messages are a confusing mix of internet memes and pop culture. As described, the bullets read, "Notices bulge, OWO, what's this? Hey fascist, catch, up arrow symbol, right arrow, 3 down arrow symbols," which is, I guess, from Helldivers 2. And then, "Oh, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow, Chow. If you read this, you are gay, LMAO." Which is all really online, weird, obscure stuff. It just adds to the weirdness of this, because it's like, why would you do such an incredible political assassination and then leave behind this? This is what you left behind to decipher. The first bullet casing, which was fired, is a meme referring to furry online roleplay, according to Know Your Meme. It's not just that, it's just online role-playing and lefty circles in Discord in general. So that's the thing about this, that is not indicative of being a furry. That's indicative of, again, being very, very, very online. And then the Bella Ciao Ciao thing is from an Italian song adopted by partisans and resistance fighters while Italy was governed by the fascist dictator Benito Mussolini. The Hey Fascist message speaks for itself. 3 downward slanting arrows are a symbol used by both historical and contemporary anti-fascists. So, what this really strikes me, when I see this type of historical leftist anti-fascist rhetoric, to me, it comes across as young people getting involved in weird online Discord communities that are all talking about these sort of things that they don't really understand, but they want to be involved in it. So they start repeating the stuff that they see in these you know, message rooms.
Yeah, the Bella Ciao one I think is a better example of what you're talking about.
Yeah,
but like it says, here too, that the whole, when you have the whole symbol together, the up, the right, that's calling in the 500 kilogram bomb
from Helldivers.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, you are correct. Like there's an amount of, people, especially young people, want to think that their generation is special.
Yeah.
Like, and it has been going on for a while. Like that's where a lot of this behavior comes from. Like, you can even say the transgender, movement kind of comes from there to an extent. Yeah. Where it's like, I'm different. I have something that you don't have. You don't understand me, nor could you, because I'm unique in a certain way. Yeah. And there isn't anything wrong with wanting to, be unique, but you have to find it.
You can't hold that over people.
You can't hold it over people, and you have to find it for yourself. Like, everybody's different. Yeah. It's just...
You have to be able to... It's fine if you want to be unique, but you have to find a way to fit in with the rest of society.
Yeah, and you can't also let that be, like, your defining trait.
Yeah, exactly.
Where you build your life around that, because it's like...
Yeah. Then what's the point?
What's the point?
Yeah. What are you doing? I have a weird theory about all of this. If we take a 500-foot view, I think Helldivers 2 was included in this to douse some of the flames of that game, because that game, Helldivers 2, I think they found a very effective propaganda strategy in that game, in the structure of that game. And I think a lot of young people are playing that, and it's one of those games that's monitored for online activity. Like there's certain communities that are monitored for online activity just because, for some reason, like bodybuilder forums for some reason, and like Discord channels. And I think Helldivers 2 is one of those, because the structure of the game is so effective for organization and propaganda that I think there's eyeballs looking at that, and they don't like what it is. Yeah. So the arrow sequence was quickly organized as something else, a combo from Helldivers 2 for calling the Eagle 500K bomb stratagem. The world of Helldivers, which evokes Robert Heinlein's book Starship Troopers and the subsequent movie, concerns fascism thematically. Developer Arrowhead has characterized it as a satire where players fight for a fascist state. As for the use of Bella Ciao, the song has no obvious connection, but given its historical significance, unsurprisingly, does appear in a Helldivers 2 mod, as well as another video game, Hearts of Iron 4. The failed shooting of Kirk on Wednesday led to an intense manhunt across Utah, although it encountered numerous complications along the way. Several leads publicly teased by FBI Director Kash Patel quickly petered out. Leaked documents from law enforcement published by MAGA influencers led to false narratives about how the markings on the bullet indicated that the shooter was in favor of transgender ideology. It was nearly impossible to divorce politics and internet misinformation from Kirk's death. However, the 31-year-old was a powerful figure in the MAGA movement as the founder and leader of the right-wing group Turning Point USA, and a prominent podcaster and MAGA influencer himself, famous for appearing on college campuses to confront liberal students. Donald Trump credited Kirk and TPUSA as a factor for his return to office campus and frequently relied on him as an emissary to youth voters. In the aftermath of Kirk's death, his allies in the MAGA movement, including lawmakers and influencers, promised swift retribution against the left should the killer share their ideology. The themes of Helldivers 2 could have an ideological meaning, albeit not necessarily a straightforward one, but ultimately the messages on the shooter's bullet casings can best be described as bizarre and extremely online. According to the FBI, evidence leading to Robinson's arrest included screenshots from his roommate's Discord chat in which he mentioned leaving a rifle wrapped in a towel in some bushes. Law enforcement recovered a Mauser 30-06 from an area near the campus that was wrapped in a towel. Fans of the game immediately noticed shortly after the press conference in the Friday morning, the Helldivers subreddit was flooded with players who just picked up on what may be references to the game. A thread now deleted was titled "Hey Fastest Catch," with the poster asking, "Did anyone else hear or notice?" A commenter responding to the thread said, "The moment I heard of the arrows, my eyes widened." Another thread, also apparently deleted by moderators, referenced the arrows that authorities say were on one of the unfired bullet casings recovered at the scene. It sickens me to have people like this playing this game and using it to real violence to tarnish this awesome game and community. The post wrote, other posts implored the subreddit moderators to knock down the forum. Moderators for the subreddit didn't immediately respond to a request comment. A thread in the separate Helldivers subreddit remains active with people discussing the apparent parallels. So there is that, and that is, it's weird, and the whole thing seems like the perfect opportunity to just keep driving that wedge between the left and the right, because it seemed like for a couple weeks there, actually, people were getting a little united over the Epstein files. People were getting a little united over, hey, we need to all do something about the Epstein files. And, multiple people coming across the aisle for the UFO stuff. And now we just happen to have this very convenient event that drives everyone apart again, in the most extreme way possible, in the most extreme way possible. It just seems very, very unusual.
And we've stayed on the surface for a lot of this.
Yeah.
And I do want to say, I feel like, this was more than just, like the death of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
Right. Like this was an attack kind of on, freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech.
Because it's like the one thing our country has going for it is the fact that you can say what you want to say.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, again, like you said, it's a wedge driven there.
Yeah.
And now it's always been this way. The loudest people on either side are the ones that are gonna, be heard because they're making themselves heard.
Yeah.
But when you would hope to see more from the left, definitely downplaying this.
Yeah.
And granted, you do see that, but I wish you would see it more.
Yeah.
Then because the videos you see online a lot now, and granted, it's always going to be that way. Is the ones that are like, Charlie Kirk, he's gone. It's like, why? And if you dislike,
oh my God, Timcast had a 2-hour episode where they're just sitting around talking about how great Charlie Kirk was.
Yeah,
and it's like, listen, guys, these guys are YouTubers. Now it's sad someone died, but I don't think this is really about Charlie Kirk. I think it's what you said. It's really about free speech, because Charlie, he was an important figure, an important political figure. He may have even had a future political career.
Yeah.
But there are a number of other figures like him, and I don't think what he was talking about was that groundbreaking, but it did piss off a lot of people.
But one of the things I think that was, groundbreaking, just, since this is an episode about Charlie himself, in a way, is, he was the campuses, college campuses now are known for generally they're left leaning, they're heavily left leaning, and he was a voice of the right, a lot of the time in a lot of these campuses, and it's just like there's no tolerance Like,
at all. Yeah, no, it's crazy. I think there's a number of lefties that are realizing that this is too far.
Yeah.
This is too, but also, um, I don't know. I am not convinced at all that this dude was any kind of leftist at all. I think this is something else. In my opinion, I think this dude was some kind of state actor, and this was some type of organized event to incite this type of reaction, especially in the wake of a number of other events that are happening at the same time as this during 9/11, which is kind of crazy. But not only that, this also serves as a perfect vehicle for more things like the Patriot Act,
Yeah.
because the immediate conversation, the immediate knee-jerk reaction is gun control about this. And
Well,
it's actually kind of interesting to see this kind of event happen, and the left immediately jumps to gun control as they normally do, and conservatives aren't even thinking about that at all. They're not even making that connection when something like this happens.
No, the thing is, guns, in my opinion, do save more lives than they take. At least here in the United States. You never really hear about the stories where things are stopped.
Yeah.
Because they were stopped.
Yeah.
So I do think, I'm definitely pro gun, as you can tell just by that statement alone.
Yeah.
And Charlie Kirk himself,
Yeah, he's very pro-gun.
Very pro gun, and he even said the occasional deaths that happen from gun violence are not a reason to take away guns or freedom, the different freedoms that we have.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Yeah. So the real question that I have is, how will the government use this to their advantage? Because that's the resounding thing that I'm getting from this event, is that everyone is trying to use this event to their advantage, especially the government right now.
So I actually don't fall in the same boat as you,
Mm-hmm.
where I think this is a government one. However,
Mm-hmm.
there is no group of people out there that, what is it? Don't let a
good tragedy go to waste.
Go to waste.
And that's all I'm saying.
And,
I'm saying is, even if it's just that, this is so perfect for that.
Yes.
This is the perfect storm of that.
So, just on that,
Yes.
I would definitely say, again, and you kind of hit it on the head beforehand too, the Patriot safety. Again, think of the children, and I absolutely hate this argument. It has been eroding our freedoms for quite some time now. And our freedoms are slowly just going, especially with our digital footprint online. They're constantly finding new ways to steal our data.
I think the reason why I keep tying this to the Butler assassination is because I think both of these young men are products of some type of strange psychological operations that happen online. Yeah. Which are sanctioned by the government for weird stuff, and I think this will open the door up for more of that weird stuff.
Yes. And there have been, those covert operations out there where it's like, how much can you tweak somebody that's, caught in an echo chamber? You know, what buttons do you press to get them to do certain things? And this could have been one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing, because the reason why I bring that up is because just like the Butler one, this dude was not the original photos of him. He's shown in MAGA gear. He's wearing and then somehow he got weirdly radicalized down some pinko tanky commie Discord channel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think there's some weird shit going on with that. That's all I'm saying. And
and there really could be, but and I, like I said, I do agree with what you were coming at from the just don't let it go to waste. I do think that in the long term, for this, right now the government's going to play it smart.
Yeah.
They're going to keep their mouth shut.
Yeah.
But they're going to stay on the general topic of safety.
Yeah.
But they're just going to keep everything on
Yeah.
the low, and then later down the line they're going to bring something up like, what about the Charlie Kirk shooting?
Yeah.
And then that's where they start getting into, maybe we should have a little more control to moderate things.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you should not.
Yeah. And this might speculatively lead to kind of more of a police state, honestly.
Yeah.
More armed guards standing around with rifles. A more tense atmosphere.
Yeah.
It could be kind of a strange world.
And here's the thing, I actually don't mind like guards standing around.
Yeah,
armed.
that's not that bad.
I was gonna say, like, I don't mind that. If you're trained how to use your weapon, and you use it safely, you're fine.
Yeah.
As a person, like a civilian, or as someone, like if there were military members around or police, it's like, if you're doing what you're supposed to, then you're fine.
Yeah.
But, again, it comes down to where they start tightening controls around, like, when and where you can be. Like, if they try to enact, like, curfew time, like, it's like, then we're starting to get into, you're overstepping your bounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another interesting aspect of this is the sheer number of other events that happened at the same time as this. All of these events seem to happen, and then Charlie got shot. So we have a ton more emails related to Jeffrey Epstein from Ghislaine Maxwell that were just released. We have Israel bombing Qatar, which, basically both countries have American military bases in it. What the hell's going on with that? And then I would say an explosive UAP hearing in Congress where they showed this video of a UFO getting hit with a Hellfire missile and just shrugging it off. This is really zoomed in. That's apparently the UFO, and that's the Hellfire missile hitting it. It knocks it out. And then 3 orbs come out of the UFO, and it stabilizes. There's a longer form video. We'll check it out later. And then you have NASA coming out and saying that they have the clearest sign yet of ancient life on Mars with this picture of, I think they called it leopard spots on there.
Yes.
Yeah, the leopard spots. They're saying that this is a result of organic matter at the bottom of a ancient river lake bed, and they are calling on the scientific community to peer review it and verify whether it is life or not. So, like, each one of these is a massive story, an absolutely massive story. And then you just have this nice little bow on top where one of your biggest political activists, gets shot live TV, and you could just ride that out in the news cycle for the next couple weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It seems like there's so many other things happening in the world, and then something like this comes along, and it's the perfect opportunity to drive a wedge between everyone, stop paying attention with these other, world-changing events, just focus on how much you hate each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because Charlie, that was the main thing, is that he did want to reach across the aisle. And I think people like Charlie are kind of some of the biggest threats to the system, is people who want to reach across the aisle.
Yeah.
I don't know.
In a big way, you're right. And if you ever watched like his debates, like, he would always be, generally like low key. Like, he's not really trying to make fun of you.
Yeah.
Even if he disagree, he's always trying to be semi respectful, though he will gut you.
Yeah.
In your argument.
Yeah.
But he will, he's like, there's no reason to laugh at you. There's no reason to, poke fun of you or any, we just heard your side. He said his side, and, and it was up to the people to decide what they thought after hearing both sides. And that's, debate in its, purest form, basically.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see that he had a nice forum like that. And again, now it's gone. And yes, it's driving a wedge. And it's, people like him where it's like, hey, let's have a one-on-one. Let's actually get down to it, because a lot of the time when you hear a debate, it's some person and some person or you've heard of. And it's not just, some person that versus, some guy on the street, because a lot of times it's like, the debates are, what's the right word? Or, they're very curated.
That's it. Yeah.
So you don't always hear all the sides that you're trying to hear, but when it's like you hear the opinion that you hear on the street sometimes pop up, and it's like, what do you think of that? Because we don't normally get to hear what people think of that. And it was a nice way of hearing things. And sadly, for now, it's gone. Ben Shapiro has said, like you said, he will be picking it up. I don't think it's his exactly, Charlie, because Ben was also kind of doing a similar thing. So, but, it's nice that they're not stopping at least.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that I think he was one of the core pillars of the new young right movement.
Yes.
So it would be very advantageous to remove him just for that aspect alone.
Yeah.
But if that were the case, now we're talking about, sheer political assassination as part of the game now, as part of the mechanics.
But I do think you also bring up a good point, just to hit on this as well. Like you said, we have the Charlie Kirk hit thing here.
Yeah.
We have all of this that went on.
Yeah.
Granted, and this is all natural stuff that went on for the most part. Even though we may think sometimes that the Charlie Kirk one may have been organized to some degree. Who knows? I'm not saying it is.
It happened on September 11th. No, it didn't.
No, but the whole thing about it is, always, even during this period of high news frequency, question what's going on in the background, because it doesn't even have to be right.
Yeah.
But you do have to constantly question it.
Right, because that's the thing about this, is when events like this happen, the first news that you hear about them is usually wrong.
Well, not only that, I'm saying, like, question it as in, like, who's benefiting the most from
that's my question. Who is benefiting the most from this happening?
Because
even if it was by accident.
Even if it's by accident, even if it's unclear, and I don't just mean the Charlie Kirk, like, who's benefiting most from the Charlie Kirk thing. I meant, like, because that's within inside the ball of the Charlie Kirk what's happening.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, look even outside of that and saying, like, okay, this is happening. Everybody's paying attention to this. But what's happening when everybody's paying attention to that? There's other things happening still.
Yeah.
And watch what they're doing. Because, again, the government is well known for doing stuff like, hey, look over here, over here.
And that entire event, I mean, it's just so strange. It just reminds me of Butler so much. There was three weird things that happened, of footage that they have. One, as soon as that shot rang out, you see the entire crowd go down, except for one dude.
For that one dude.
Go up and so it's like, okay, that dude should be questioned, probably. You know what I mean? What's the deal with that guy? And then you have the old guy saying, shoot me. So you have people saying that, and then this dude fucking slips out the back, and he's gone for 33 hours. He evades the FBI for 33 hours. That's crazy, man. That's almost a professional hit. You could say that this is like an MK Ultra thing. That's what it seems like.
Anyway, I mean, I think it, because the thing is, this was a well-announced visit from Charlie Kirk. The campus itself had like a petition signed of like, I forget it was, like 18,000 people.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Saying, we don't want him here.
Oh, okay. So there was intense opposition to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But as you saw, like, I think almost 17,000 people showed up. It was a huge event. And he was in a theater, like one of the old,
like
outside theaters.
Yeah.
And he was at the base of it.
Mm-hmm.
The building
Yeah.
was kind of in the right spot for that, if you're going to do it.
Yeah.
It's basically a straight shot all the way, and it's all downhill.
Yeah.
Which is what a lot of people are saying. They don't think it's a professional. What they think is actually, and the reason he was hitting the neck is, like a lot of shooters online that play video games, they would aim for the head.
Yeah.
A lot of snipers, if they don't think that they can make the shot and they're professional, I don't mean shot like in the head. They aim for the body.
Right.
Center of mass. So you wouldn't necessarily aim for the head.
So
they think he missed.
And
hit the neck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I did not see it. I cannot handle neck injury stuff. That if I saw that live, especially from how I've heard it described, if I saw that live, I would have passed the fuck out.
There was a huge coming out. It was gruesome,
horrific.
Yes.
That is the craziest thing about it, is how horrific it was. I can't think of anything else quite like it.
No. No, it was a scene that was for sure, and it's almost in a way, like, don't get me wrong, a headshot would be bad as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot to that.
Yeah.
But the next shot, especially where it hit, draws a lot of blood. So this was a bloody scene.
Yeah.
So
and that is just, it's just horrific.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see where this is going to take us. Do you think, because it seems like overwhelmingly this was fundamentally a political assassination to spark a civil war. Am I wrong?
I would say on this point, it can be seen that way. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
Like, the pieces are there that you could see it that way because of all the tensions that have been around.
It almost seems like this kid wanted to start a civil war.
The kid may have, yes, that's for sure. But one other thing, I think this is a two-way street here. And I think this is kind of a point where we have to start deciding where we want to be.
Yeah.
And I am really hoping that, like you said, like a lot of leftists and a lot of everybody will just be like, hey, we can't have this.
Yeah.
Like this, if we go down this road, that's a slippery slope for so many other things.
Yeah.
When you say that, I can kill someone over, their thoughts and opinions.
Yeah.
That automatically, that makes you someone that could be like that, just like, you could be killed over your thoughts and opinions. That's not something you want to be doing.
Yeah. I think a dangerous element is that there are some of these lefties that get involved in these weird online Discord communities and become so wrapped up and so online and so involved in their online bubble world that they think that is, like, they start basing their morality off of that.
Yeah.
And it just, they spiral.
Yes, that can happen, and there's a good chance that that's what happened here. And this is a good thing to say. I mean, on this point, mental health issues. Yeah, like there's a big factor here.
Yeah, and in some of these Discord communities, like, they're also so wrapped up in gaming. That's part of their online bubble world.
Yeah,
that it makes me fear that political assassination is simply a new mechanic that they've unlocked. That's how they see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is now a valid part of the game that they think they're playing.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't think
the Overton window has moved.
Yeah,
because I think we saw this. If we were to go down the Psy-Op route, which I'm half leaning. I'm not fully in it, but I'm half leaning into it. I would lump Luigi Mangione and the Butler shooting all in with this guy, especially Luigi Mangione, with that whole movement. Like that was another that was another political assassination. That was a sheer political assassination in a way, sort of. I don't know.
Yeah.
You could kind of argue that,
You could
know,
argue
but it wasn't like live. But it was on camera. You know what I mean, in front of everybody. You know, and that was another very similar thing. Like he just shot the guy because he was an insurance CEO. And then there was this massive online following of like, what's going to happen to Luigi? They caught him. He's going to prison. Yeah. That's what's happening to Luigi. Why is there an obsession with watching his case trials? And like, there's Redditors, there's whole subreddits that are dedicated to this guy, Luigi, like following his life story and his prison case. It's like, he's going to jail. That's it. Case closed.
Yeah. I mean, and you're right on a lot of this. And I will also say that there's a group out there of people that's their thing. They like following stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true.
But also there's a thing out there where like I have seen where like there's a hot guy in jail.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, he murdered people.
Yeah.
Like, and Luigi's in that group.
Yep.
And you see people out there like, no, he can't go to prison.
Yeah.
It's like, no, he exactly
has to go to prison.
He has to go to prison. Like, and not only that, it also
he's too hot to go to prison.
Yeah. It also, and I will actually say there is a thing out there where I like kind of what you said in a way where it's like, what's going to happen to him?
Yeah.
And to us it's clear, he's going to prison.
Yeah.
But it is almost a valid question now.
Yeah.
Because like that guy that stabbed that woman on the train,
mm-hmm.
How many times was he released?
Oh yeah, and there's that.
Like 14 times.
Yeah, which is
So it's like, so what actually happens?
What actually yeah, that's actually a really good question. If he goes to jail, how many years is it before he's released? I mean, he could go to jail and get released in 2 years from good behavior. That does happen. That crazily enough, that kind of shit happens.
That's what I'm saying.
Where like a 100% in cold blood murderer gets out after like 2 or 3 years on good behavior.
Something, along those lines. And it's like, wow. Like, so what was there a sentence? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like 2 years for killing somebody?
Yeah.
Now, I could see a weird 2-year sentence for killing somebody.
Yeah.
If it was completely, like, no side wanted that to happen.
Right.
But it did.
Yeah.
And you were
like one of those small town justice murders.
But it's like, for something like this that was totally planned out.
Yeah.
It's like, no, this guy should be going away for life.
For life, yeah.
But will he?
Is that the thing that's actually going to happen? And, let me see if I could pull up this study that this researcher did about corruption in northern Kentucky. Hold on, let me see. I can't find the exact article, but I did find the one about a political action committee that was formed in response to the systemic corruption in northern Kentucky, in the northern Kentucky region. We're a group of citizens who have had enough of the systemic failures that have allowed corruption to thrive in our region, said Bradley Blankenship. When law enforcement and local government fail to uphold basic principles of justice and accountability, as well as abdicate their duty to protect the public, it is our duty to step in and demand the transparency and action that the people deserve. Basically, the thing that I was referencing was this one researcher started researching corruption in this specific part of Kentucky. And he expanded his research to more and more areas when he realized that it's all just one big web of corruption. And he spoke to other researchers researching similar topics across the country. And they basically found that most of our government institutions, down to a local level, have been captured by corporations and private interests.
Yes.
We basically do not live in a free country in the way that we would like to envision it anymore.
No, and we hit on this particular statistic, a little while ago with our corporate one.
Yeah.
But when we say, like, when we vote,
mm-hmm.
Especially in larger votes,
mm-hmm.
less than 1%, 0%
Mm.
of what we actually like voted for will actually come to pass.
Yeah,
It's where the money is coming from. That's
Exactly.
where all the power is coming from.
exactly.
So they actually shown, like, if you voted for this,
Mhm.
and if you happen to win and it comes about,
Mhm.
that was because someone else planned it and paid for it, not because you voted that way.
That's the theory, at
Yeah,
least.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's what they're showing is like
Yeah.
the money is where it's all
Yes,
at.
yes, and that's the thing is that right now it feels more than ever that we are going through like Soviet era collapse, like
Yeah.
just this
Well-
slow roll into corruption that I don't. Maybe it's solvable this time though with AI.
Maybe, but one of the things that you've definitely heard of it.
Mhm.
When you get down to like the local level,
Mhm.
how many times have we heard like, if you went up against like a big real estate company, that's going to put down like a lot of houses in an area,
Yeah,
and it's like all of a sudden, it's like, hey, it's illegal to do that. That land isn't for, and it's like, oh, that doesn't matter.
yeah,
Like, yeah, like I'll get it through. Like,
yeah, yep.
you hear about like smaller things like that all of the time.
all the time.
Where it's and that's what it is when it really comes. That's the corruption.
Yeah,
It's not big. It's not, but it's pervasive. It's
Yeah.
everywhere.
yeah,
And when you start linking all of that together, like, oh, I only did this and this and this, and it's like but you did that,
yeah,
and he did something else, and it's like, yes, it's a huge web of corruption,
yeah.
all the way from the base to the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels like the fragility of modern American society is kind of fracturing. And we are definitely not living in the same world that we were taught to grow up in.
No,
You
and
know.
one of the things that has been removed,
Yeah.
and we kind of just hit on it actually, was consequence.
Consequence. Exactly.
You know,
Yeah, and hypothetically, let's say you have these figures, Luigi Mangino, and this dude, let's say he's like confirmed as a born again leftist, you know what I mean, legit. What if they only serve like a year or 2 or 3 jail time sentences and they're let out?
well, I can give you a hypothetical. These guys will not be let
no,
out
I don't think so. I don't
because
think that would happen.
because of the
Yeah.
sheer
Yeah.
amount of
Political.
attention that's been
Yeah.
paid. However,
Mhm.
had it not been,
Mhm.
yes, that could have happened.
Yeah.
Like if this was just they shot a guy that you've never heard of
Right.
that came to the campus.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 2 or 3 years. There's a possibility at
Yeah.
least that they could pop out of prison at some point. But yes, that is a thing. Like
Yeah.
we could be seeing stuff, like that.
And how much would that embolden actors to take those kind of actions? You know what I
Well,
mean?
and that's the whole thing.
To
It
chip away at the fabric of our society.
That's exactly what it does.
Yeah.
Is it chips away, and it's like maybe I can get away with it because
Yeah.
it's no longer a non-zero issue. It's like, oh, I'm going to go to jail if I do this. It's like I might, or I might get away with it.
Or if I secretly get hooked up with this NGO political action committee, I can do certain things, dip into jail, and they will bail my ass out to be one of their political foot soldiers at a future event.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
or something of that.
Something like that, and they just game the system that way. And it just feels like at this point at end stage American Republican capitalism, it feels like it's kind of crumbling apart.
It does feel that way, and I do think to some degree
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And there's a need for things to kind of, I don't like saying go back,
Yeah.
but for a sense of order, law, order, justice for certain things.
Yeah.
And we're not really seeing it anymore.
Like everyone is gaming the system. When
Well-
everyone is trying to do different metas and they're only focused on the meta and not the true intention of the system, this is the fucking problem. Nobody cares about the true intention of the system anymore. They're just trying to push through their meta.
Yes. And you're definitely on the right track there. Like, I think that is basically the whole thing. And I think there's a little more to it in the
Like the one lady, I forget who it was, but she was like, when you actually get to Washington, the mechanisms of Washington are so far off and so different from what you've been taught in school. They're not. It's just not the same. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that one Asian lady that was like super high up in Biden's cabinet that literally came out after the Biden administration and was like, yeah, it was like a Weekend at Bernie situation. We were propping him up and the administration was running everything. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah.
You know, like, it works in a totally different way than how it's being presented.
I do think that's a valid thing. And
Yeah.
one of the things that you can almost take as a maybe this is a version of that
Yeah.
is Kash Patel himself.
Yeah.
You know, when you see
Dude, he is over his fucking head.
well, he is, but when you see Kash Patel, who went into this
Yeah.
like gung ho, and
Yeah.
he's like, day one,
Yeah.
you're getting the you know,
Dude, I was down. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Now I have no confidence in him at all.
At all.
Like, I think he is just way over his head.
but
Yeah.
cutting out the way over his head part
Yeah.
a little bit, because
Yeah.
it is a factor. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but cutting that out, the look on his face.
Oh my God, constantly.
Well, not just that, but I meant the
Like,
look.
that's his biggest problem is
the-
the look on his face.
The look on his on his face when it's like
Yeah.
where are the files?
Yeah.
The day one files that
Yeah.
you kind of were putting out there, like
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this.
I don't even know if I could do the look.
Yeah, and it's what it makes me think of is, and we kind of mentioned this again on a different episode
Yeah.
where it's like, what was he told?
Yeah. What was he told?
Because this is a guy that was like, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
Like and then he gets in there, and I think, like you said,
Yeah.
he found out things don't work that way.
Yeah. Things don't work that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was anywhere near prepared for like, oh, this isn't like I get to make decisions.
Yeah.
Like someone else is pulling the strings and
Yeah.
I am a puppet.
So we'll end the podcast on this interesting
Yeah.
note. So recently, Anna Paulina Luna at the UFO hearing thing. Well, this is after the hearing. This is on Twitter, I believe. She said that she is actually going to reach across the aisle in the ocean to Russia
Oh.
to see if any of their counterpart organizations, if any of this is true and things like that, and to see maybe if we can work with the Russian government to some capacity over the UFO stuff. And you know what the top Reddit comment was for
What?
that? Was the darkest timeline would be that the Russian government responds, yes, we are working with elements of your government on this subject and have been, and you don't have the classification to know about it.
I mean, that's a response in and of itself.
Wouldn't that be fucking crazy if it was like full blown breakaway civilization?
Well,
like,
I mean that's right next to like full disclosure. Like
that would
so
be
you
full
wouldn't- you
disclosure in
wouldn't-
itself.
Yeah, you wouldn't get that. But
That
yeah.
would be crazy if that happened, though.
Yeah.
But that would be funny, like full blown breakaway civilization.
right. What's happening at the bottom of Lake Baikal?
What's happening at the bottom of Lake Baikal?
Right.
Exactly.
That's a deep one.
That's a
There's
deep
stuff that's down there.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We'll leave it for there. We'll see you next time, guys.